duty to be able to help us with this.
Your government employees are still
That's it.
serving the American
That's
people.
it. Thank you, Elliot.
No, it was waning yesterday and today.
No, it was. Oh, right.
It was waning.
It was very heavy wane.
Oh, I got
It's
that.
Oh.
a bit like now.
All right, I got showtime. Shabbat shalom, everyone. We're going to have a good time tonight. Everybody turn off your mics, will you? It's my show tonight. Dr. Dan, if you're in the house, we're going to start with your nigun. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la.
Charlie, how do you remember the words to all these songs?
Dan wrote to me a couple of days ago and told me that he had dispensation from, I don't know if you said the board or from everybody, that he's going to be allowed to unmute his microphone to heckle me during the service so that I feel most at home. And I told him that was an excellent idea. Actually, I can remember the words to that song. I've got it written out right in front of me.
Lie, lie, lie.
I have a lyric sheet that says lie, 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 lie. I do. No joke about that. All right, we are going to welcome Shabbat with lighting of Shabbat candles. The bracha, if you have your Kol HaNeshama prayer book, is on page 5. If you don't have a prayer book, you probably know the blessing anyway.
It's on page 5, whether you have a book or not.
And now you can turn your microphone off.
Thank you.
Somebody mute him, please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen. So welcome everybody to this Halloween service. It's a spooky time. It's our last time for Friday night service with Cantor Charlie, of course. And, I know we all know this, but just, my role tonight is very little. It's really Cantor Charlie will be leading, but I'm here to help just be present and hold the space for naming what is so obvious, but just so that we can make it real, even amidst the jesting, and jesting can sometimes cover over emotion. But as we enjoy welcoming in Shabbat and enjoying being with one another, enjoying the leadership of Cantor Charlie at this poignant time, that we can just breathe into that and bring our attention from our head and from our joyful space into Shabbat, into our hearts, and into this really special time together.
Thank you, Rabbi.
13. Yes.
We turn to page 13 for Shalom Aleichem, and tradition teaches us that each of us is accompanied by two angels on Shabbat. And I used to think a lot about this, imagining how crowded it would be when we get triple the number of Jews who gathered together. The phrase Shalom Aleichem is a greeting that means peace be with you. We wish the person we are greeting that they should experience peace. So in the lyrics to this hymn, we greet the angels, wishing them peace. We then ask that they come to us in peace, Boachem l'shalom. We then ask that they bless us with peace, Barchuni l'shalom. Rabbi Daria taught us that we should then ask that they stay with us in peace, Shiftachem l'shalom. Finally, we acknowledge that the angels will be leaving us once Shabbat ends, and we wish that their departure be in peace, Tzeitchem l'shalom. This week, though, I read something that in some communities, they make a slight change in that last verse. And they make the change because Tzeitchem seems like too much of a direction that angels you should leave now at the end of the song. The first word of the verse is changed to B'tzeitchem, or when you leave, let it be in peace. So this way, it doesn't seem like we're throwing the angels out the door. So let's try that last verse as B'tzeitchem, if we can remember. I wrote it down on my lyric sheet, so I'm ready, Dan. And we'll use the melody from the Israeli group Navat Tehillah tonight. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barchuni L'Shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shiftachem L'Shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, B'tzeitchem L'Shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a 3-guitar night tonight. We turn to page 19 for Dodi Lee. Dodi Lee from Shir HaShirim, from the Song of Songs. Dodi Lee, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים מי זאת עולה מן המדבר מי זאת עולה מקוצרת מור ולבונה מור ולבונה דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים ליבתיני אחותי קלה ליבתיני קלה ליבתיני אחותי קלה ליבתיני קלה דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. Folks that are here for the first time or haven't heard the spiel about this, the reason I put different guitars, use different guitars for different pieces. Some things just sound better with the 12-string than with the 6 or vice versa. But I have two different 6 strings tonight because when I put a capo on the guitar, it always winds up sending it out of tune. And rather than keep you waiting while I get the guitars tuned, it's easier to just use two different guitars. So with the capo on, we're going to turn to page 21. And in Psalm 95, we're going to sing the first few verses in the Psalm. Come sing in ecstasy to the Eternal One. Ring out a fanfare to our rock of rescue. Hurry forth in thanks before the presence, shouting in song to God. For the Creator is a generous divinity, a sovereign greater than all image gods. Some of you might remember this melody. Some of you might not. And if you don't, you'll learn it quick. Lechu niranena la'Adonai, Naria litzur yeshenu, Mikadma fanav betoda, Bizmirot naria lo, Ki el gadol Adonai. ומלך גדול על כל אלוהים אשר בידו מחירי הארץ תועפות ערים לו לכו נרננה לאדוני נריה לצור ישנו מקדמה פניו בתודה Bizmirot naria lo, Ki el gadol Adonai. Umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher biado mechirei. Haaretz v'to'afot harim lo, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. We turn now to page 33. page 33 in the Siddur. We're going to read responsively in the English, Psalm 98. Psalm 98 responsively in the English, and this is, as Rabbi Daria pointed out earlier, this is the last Friday night. I'm going to be leading services as the regular old cantor, so I get to do an English responsive reading. Enjoy it, congregation, because you might not hear it for a long time. A psalm, sing out to the truthful a new song, to the one who has wrought wonders in the world.
Whose right
His
hand
right hand was of the
was the holy saving arm.
saving arm.
Who made the divine might renowned, revealed God's justice to the eyes of many nations.
And who made renown, remember divine love and faithfulness to the community of Israel.
To the farthest reaches of the earth, they saw our God's salvation.
Trumpet out in joy, the awesome ones burst forth and sing, and play your music.
Music for the omnipresent on a violin, on strings with voice and melody.
With horn playing and shofar blasts, trumpet your praise before the sovereign, to the one who is.
Let the sea be in a tumult, and the settled world and its inhabitants.
And let the rivers clap their hands together, and the mountains sing in joy.
To the one who comes to rule the earth.
To rule the settled world with justice, and to all peoples with unerring deeds.
Lifnei Adonai kiva kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, ve'amin b'meisharim. Lecha dodi. Is found between pages 41 and 47, and we are going to sing all the verses of Lecha Dodi tonight. We'll go out with a bang. I'm seeing all kinds of applause out there. This is it's so good to be appreciated. I can hardly stand it. Lecha Dodi, pages 41 to 47. When we come to the last verse, I am going to invite all of you to please rise if you are able and face the entrance to your home, so that we can welcome Shabbat HaMalka into our presence in these Zoom times. Shabbat HaMalka does make it to all our homes at the same time. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Friday Shabbat nikabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Friday Shabbat nikabla. Shamor v'zachor dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'nitila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nikabla. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor habracha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machashava tehila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nikabla. Mikdash melech yir melucha, u'mitzei mitocha fecha. Rav lach shevet le'emek havacha, le'hoyach hamol alayich chemla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nikabla. nari me'afar kumi livshivigde vartechami al yad nefsai beit alafni kor va'el nafshi ke'ala lecha dodi likrat kala Friday Shabbat likabla Yitorbi Kiva Orech Kumi Ori Shir Daberi Kevod Adonai Alai Nigla Lecha Dodi Likrat kala le Shabbat likabla lo tefshi velo tikami matish tochachi umatami machasu ani ami beniv nitair Tila lecha dodi likrat kala le Shabbat likabla Ehayulim shisa shosayich lerachaku kol mevalayich Yasis alayich Elohayich Kimsos chatan al kala Lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nikabela Yamin usmol tiferotzi et Adonai taritzi al yad ish ben parzi ben ismecha ben agila lecha dodi likrat kala ben Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nikabela Boi v'shalom ateret balab Gam besimcha uv'tzochala toch emuneh Am segula boichala lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nikabela B'nei Shabbat nikabela Oh B'nei Shabbat nikabela Please be seated. Turn to page 49. 49 for the title line, I guess you'd call it, for Psalm 92. The psalmist said, a psalm, a song for the day of Shabbat. Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir, 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 shir leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat. The whole world is waiting to sing a song of Shabbat. The whole world is waiting to sing a song of Shabbat. And I too am waiting to sing a song of Shabbat. I too am waiting to sing a song of Shabbat. Mizmor shir, shir leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir, shir leyom HaShabbat. I ask the congregation to please rise as we turn to page 57 and begin our formal evening service now that we're all properly warmed up. Please rise for the Baruch Hu on page 57. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. We're going to turn to page 63. Page 63, if we'll join together for Ahavat Olam. And we're going to do my melody for Ahavat Olam tonight. And it's the one that has English words that are not in the Siddur. The plan, of course, for tonight was that I would have sent Ray the lyric sheet so that Ray could share it with all of you. But for some reason, Ray didn't get the lyric sheet. Well, the reason is because I didn't send it. And so you're going to have to just mumble along with me. And
Darn that internet.
Yeah. if you can't remember these words, it's been a few weeks since we did this melody. You'll all be excused because it's my fault for not sending the lyric sheet. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Your love has no limits, your love knows no end. With your love all Israel has been blessed. Torah of wisdom still shows us the way, the same when we strive as when we rest. We're made in your image, your love is our guide. We must end the violence and we must stop the hate. Our days are numbered, we must heed the call. There simply is no time left to wait. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Amacha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta. And we turn to page 65. Page 65 in our Siddur. I actually had to pick up the Siddur for this one, the real Siddur. Join together for Kriyat Shema, page 65. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod, Malachuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam amzuzot beitecha u'visharecha. We continue individually with either of the two selections from Torah that follow. We'll come back together in a few moments. Adonai Elohechem Emet. All right. We are going to recall the crossing of the sea as we turn to page 79. Page 79 from Micha Mocha. Page 79, Micha Mocha. Ya la 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 la. La 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Kamocha ba elim Adonai Kamocha nedar b'kodesh Yorah tehilot osei peleh Yorah tehilot osei peleh Malchutecha ra'u v'necha Okei hayam lifnei Moshe Zelianu ve'amru Zelianu ve'amru Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed Adonai la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. We will now turn to page 85. 85. As we say aloud the commandment to keep Shabbat, the commandment that brings us all here this evening. Not just because it's my last Friday night, but we're here because it's Shabbat. So we're going to sing together for Shamru on page 85. V'shamru v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. שמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל. שמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם שמרו ושמרו בני ישראל.
Turn now, yes, we turn now to page 90 as we rise for the Amidah. Just in case you haven't, I'm sure you've noticed before that there's all sorts of meditations, alternative Amidot, that the page numbers are in the italics on the page on the top of page 90-91. But whatever you need for this personal time of quiet, of reflection with the words of the Siddur, alternatives, or just the quiet of your heart. We'll come back together in a couple moments.
Our Amidah, regardless of the time of day, or the day of the week, or the day of the year, always ends with a prayer for peace. Always ends with Oseh Shalom Bimromav. So we'll join together for Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imeru amen. Sing again now. Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imeru amen. Yaseh Shalom. Oh, Yaseh Shalom, oh, Yaseh Shalom, ve'imeru amen. Oh, say Shalom Bimromav, oh, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imeru amen. Oh, Yaseh Shalom, oh, Yaseh Shalom, oh, Yaseh Shalom, ve'imeru amen. Oh, Yaseh Shalom, oh, Yaseh Shalom, oh, Yaseh Shalom, ve'imeru amen. You all sounded great. Even with your microphones muted, you sounded fabulous.
So can we all unmute now?
No. None of you can, Dan. None. Rabbi Daria. We are up to Birkat Cholim. Are you doing that? Am I doing that? I can't remember now. You're muted. You're muted, Rabbi. There you go.
Mute. I know. Sorry. Something else.
Which one of us is doing this?
I thought you were doing this.
I'm doing this. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do Mourner's.
I have a feeling that I did, in fact. No, I did not. Do you have the names?
I do have the names.
All right. I will be glad to recite Birkat Cholim, and I will ask you to read the names because that I did not print.
Yes, perfect.
So at this time, we'll do our Birkat Cholim, our prayer for healing for those who are in need of healing in our congregational's extended families. I don't know if anybody's caught the little number there on the bottom of the screen with how many people are here. At one point, we had 93, I think. Now we have 92. So I'd like.
That's devices, Charlie. That's not people. So they're, I would say, well over 100.
I'm saying that many screens that I've got in front of me. So I'd
Well
like
over
to ask.
100.
I'd like to ask 7 or 8 of you to please run out to your front door and yell to one of your neighbors to tell them to get on the Zoom call so we can get an even 100. All right, that would make me feel a whole lot better if we did that.
Or log in on multiple devices from your own home.
Then I won't even know it. That's a good point. I hardly ever look at that number on the bottom of the screen. Tonight I was interested. So for our Birkat Cholim. Mishaberach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yakov, v'imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yivarech v'rapeh et kol hacholim. Adonai yasadem v'chazkem be'orech ruach ve'ometz lev. Yiten Adonai chokma v'tushya. בלב הרופא לקרות מחוב ישלח לחולים, בקרוב רפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף. יוסיף אדוני להם שנות חיים ושלום, להודות ולהלל לרופא הנאמן והרחמן, לאורך ימים, ונאמר Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those who are ailing in our extended congregational family. May the healer give them support and strength, patience of spirit and courage. May those who care for them have wisdom and sound judgment for alleviating their pain and suffering. And may those suffering be thoroughly healed in spirit and in body. This evening, we especially ask God's blessing for
Beth Sellers, Sydney Brovman, Diane Brovman, Robert Blau, Lisa Goldblum, Robbie Esmond, Abba Coley, Dana Shapiro, Sherry Coley, Sandra Ehrlich, Leah Young, Pat Young, the Krieger family, Romain Munier, I apologize for mispronunciations, Donna Goldstein, Eric Lopez, Judy Arnoff, Linda Jarvis, Dan Meniak and Talafar, Jamie Graham, Bonnie Krasik, Jennifer Yu, Alan Cover, Vivian Krawitz, Irv Krawitz, Nancy Ellen, Parker Harness, Andrew Rodabaugh, Lisa Sellers, Melitza Hudson, Sheila Daniels, Janet Zolt, Chelsea Raymond, Destiny and Peyton Mabry, Jay Long, Brett and Linda Marcus, Mary Wieners, Josephine Becker, Edna Handler, Shalami Johannes, Cy Bluestein, Michael Iraq, Debbie Pakaluk, Joy Denenberg and Elliot Denenberg, Steve and Terry Klein, Jenna Burney, Ron Weinstein, Parker Harness, Bernie Goldblatt, Ron Benton Klein, Johannes Anwender, Rahat Hassan, Jan Bauman, Della Letman, Bill Preuter, Gary and Faith Sykes, Nancy Crone, Holly Spector, Elliot Lemmelman, Judy Francis, Elliot Sussels, Elena Skamarakas, Leah Lubieva Simeon, Stan Kuznets, Joshua, Ben Moshe Basia, Pauline Pivovar, Pesha Miriam Batishaya, Yeshayahu Moshe Visra Leah, Bonnie Dank, Sarah Bat Mordechai Batsheva, Gordon Witt, Marcy Davis, Lisa Karf, David and Candy Steckenschneider, Elise Krakauer, Leah Rivka Bat Zeev, Martin Levy, Linda Bergovsky, Liba Rachel Bat Yitzchak Becherna, Retha Pogrifki, Bonnie Street, Hamilton, Fege Yudit Bat Avram.
Gewalt, so many in need of healing. May all of them be given many more years of life and health, for giving thanks and praise to the all-merciful and faithful healer for a length of days. Let us say, Amen.
Amen.
All right. Sit back for a while. Vayomer Adonai el Avraham, lech lecha ma'aretz umidolatecha, umibayit avicha el haaretz asher arecha. Yud He Vav He said to Avram, go ye forth from your land, from your kindred, from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. Thus begins this week's Torah portion, Lech Lecha. Avram, at the age of 75, left his home and nearly all that he knew. He left his prosperity and his comfort behind. He traveled to a place he'd never been and probably didn't know existed. He had to start life anew. The Torah makes it seem like he just instantly up and left without even thinking about it. And that is intended to demonstrate Avram's pure faith in God and willingness to follow what he perceived as God's command without question or hesitation. I imagine a different story. Avram hears or feels God's command. But that begins a process of consideration for him. Was it really a command from a God he never even heard of? After all, nobody he knew ever heard of this God. Was it a dream? An errant thought that crossed his mind? Did Avram for a long time have a notion to go traveling, and this simply came into his consciousness at that moment? Once he decided that it really was a command from this as yet unheard of God, he had to then decide if he was going to follow it. I can't believe he simply told his wife and nephew to pack up, and they all left together right there on the spot. There must have been some conversation between Avram and Sarai. How long did they discuss this? What was Sarai's first reaction? Did she resist? After all, she was also leaving all that she knew and at an advanced age. What about Lot? What made him decide to join his uncle on this seemingly crazy journey? He would have thought, how are we going to find this place? We have no directions. We have no map. How will we know when we get there? And what will we find? In my imagination, after some time, they decide as a group, okay, it's settled. Pack everything up and we are leaving as of this day. We'll go in the direction that Avram feels is right and stop when he says it's time. We're willing to take this risk together and follow Avram's calling. It must have been very scary for all of them, but they decided that the time was right and they determined that they were going to make this thing work. Nearly all of us go through journeys like Avram's. We reach a certain age and decide to take a chance and make a change. For some, it's when we go off to college. What makes us decide to go to this school as opposed to that one? I decided to go to the University of Connecticut for a quirky reason. I was told that the ice cream served in the dining halls was all made right there on campus. That was it. I was hooked. I was a child of suburbia. Ice cream came from the supermarket. I had no idea where it was made. If it was made right there on the campus, this must be a fabulous place to be. It was after I was at UConn for a couple of years that I learned that any university that has an agriculture school makes all its dairy products, including ice cream, there on the campus. So most of us don't know what we're going to find at college, at the college that we choose. Sometimes we might even doubt that we made the right choice. But we leave our childhood home for our first taste of independent life. After college, we find our way to a job, again, taking chances. Will this job suit me? Can I find this job is going to be satisfactory? Will it suit me? Can I really succeed? Is this the place where I want to live? Later, perhaps we find a life partner and decide to join our journeys. Some of these relationships last for a long time. Some do not. In each case, we have to decide whether to stay on a certain course or make changes. These are usually not easy decisions. In my day job, I spent a 39-year career working for only 2 employers. And I did basically the same job for 39 years. I clearly was not the type who looked for new adventures. After the first 2 years or so of working, I never sought any advancement to a higher position. I preferred the security of staying put. I was lucky that I enjoyed the work I was doing, was satisfied with my compensation, and believed in the value of my work. So many times, our path is determined pretty much by accident. Unexpected things happen to us that lead us in unexpected directions. And such was my entering into the Oseh Shalom community. My ex-wife and I moved to Laurel in the fall of 1977. We moved to the DC area because I wanted to find a job working for a national labor union. We just happened to find an apartment in Laurel. My family was very involved in our synagogue when I was a kid. We attended services nearly every Shabbat and holiday. And I had been singing in choirs in the synagogue since I was around 10. But in my early 20s, I had drifted away a little bit from my Judaism. By the time I arrived in Laurel, I had become a Hanukkah candles, a little bit of Pesach, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur Jew. And in that first year in Laurel, even the high holidays had dropped off. Less than a year later, my dad died. Despite my drift from Judaism, I knew I had to say Kaddish. I searched for a synagogue in the Laurel phone book. How many of us remember phone books? I found Oseh Shalom and called the number to find out what time services were. The number in the phone book turned out to be Jackie Land's home number. Most of you know the story that at my first Erev Shabbat service at Oseh Shalom, Jackie and John Reel led a small group of worshipers, in the round. They concluded services with Adon Olam to the tune of Turkey in the Straw. Once again, I was hooked. I knew that I had found a home. And that home was as comforting and supporting to me as a home should be. I spent a few years at Oseh Shalom as a regular congregant. I even served 1 year as religious vice president, giving John a little time off. Then the opportunity arose to allow me to step in and fill a void left when Mike Kravitz, who had been our cantor for years before we hired Rabbi Fink, was let go. I served for a little while as one of the congregants' volunteers to do some cantorial singing. Then I decided to seize the moment, and I approached OSE's then president, Marty Goldberger. May his memory always be for a blessing. I told him that I could do the job as OSE's cantor, and that I wanted the job. The congregation was not even searching for a cantor at that point. Luckily, Marty was amenable. Those of you who remember, Marty was amenable to just about anything. And I began my tenure as Ose Shalom's cantor. Who can say whether or not I had received some divine call that led me to push for an opportunity nobody had even decided to create? Did I hear that voice saying, Lech Lecha? Go and embark on this new, I lost my place. Go and embark on this new unexpected career path? It didn't feel that way at the time, but looking back, I can't be sure. My job as Ose's cantor has always been a part-time job, but the amount of part-time grew over the years. I took on a course of study and underwent some intensive on-the-job training. I am so grateful to all my teachers and all my friends who helped me along the way to develop my skills. Some of my development was probably genetic. I am named for my paternal great-grandfather, who was a cantor in London, England in the late 19th century. The singing and guitar playing part of the job always came easy. I'm a folkie, and the performance part of the job just came naturally. What I could not realize when I began, though, was how I would become such an important part of so many people's lives. I became identified with their worship experience. Praying in Ose Shalom meant hearing me sing. Hundreds of children went through our religious school, and for them, the word cantor meant me. I would hear from them or their parents that when they went to a family member's bar or bat mitzvah service in another synagogue and they heard that shul's cantor sing, the kids would say, it's not the same as Cantor Charlie. And by that, they meant that they preferred me. My voice, my guitar, my presence became part of so many families' life cycle events, from joyous to sad and painful. It took me a long time to realize the gravity of that. These families trusted me and welcomed me to be a part of some of their most important and intimate occasions. Being the cantor wasn't the same as the coffee house gigs I did as a college student. I wasn't just a performer. I had become a symbol and a conduit for others' religious experience. This is a weighty responsibility. I could not treat it cavalierly. I had to be conscious of that for every service, every class I taught, every visit to one of the religious school classes. But I was also amazed at how much being the cantor at Ose Shalom came to mean to me. It wasn't just a job. Being the cantor became an essential part of my identity. It filled needs for me that I could not fill elsewhere in my life. It became an anchor for me in some of the darkest times in my life, and I became more and more determined not to lose that anchor. When I started, I had no idea of this dimension of my role. I'm very grateful for this unexpected blessing. My relationship with the congregation is truly symbiotic. We give to each other, and we value all that we give and what we get. I deeply cherish that relationship. But as much as I love being Ose Shalom's cantor, this part-time job has created some serious constraints on my time. In our 18-plus years of marriage, Marilyn and I have almost never been away from the house for an entire week. If we were going away, we would wait to leave until Sunday, or make sure that we were home by Thursday so that I could be at Ose Shalom for Shabbat. We could not make plans without first checking the clergy coverage calendar. As our kids grew older, Some of them moved out of the area, say that 5 times fast, to the point that visiting them required planning and being away for a longer period of time. Shabbat comes every week, and until just 2 years ago, I had been contractually responsible to sing for 48 Fridays a year. We just reduced it a couple of years ago to 44. When Marilyn and I moved to Marriottsville in 2015, that meant having a longer commute back and forth to Oseh Shalom. This part-time job was taking a lot more hours every week. Last fall, I think I began to hear that voice telling me, Lech Lecha. It's time to start a new chapter in life. Like Avram's calling, this would require me to leave my comfort zone. As much as I might kvetch about having to drive to Laurel, spend time choosing music to sing at a service, prepare a Devar Torah or prepare a Torah study, I was not sure how I would fill that time in my week. I would be losing at least some of the close relationship with all of you congregants that I love so much. But I began to think about what I would gain. It didn't mean just leaving the old and familiar. It meant exploring and finding the new and exciting. Our 37-year relationship is considerably longer than the typical tenure for a congregation's cantor. We can look back on that time and be grateful and satisfied that it's been a really good run. It's time for this old guy to be able to take some bows and move into that new chapter. It's time for the congregation to blaze a new path forward and continue to grow with a new cantor, with whom you will build an exciting future. Thinking about today's Torah portion, I see a major difference between my journey and Avram's. Remember, Avram left everything that he knew. I assure you that even though I am moving from the regular cantor to the lofty emeritus position, I'm not walking away from Oseh Shalom. This remains my spiritual home. Marilyn's and my relationship with the congregation remains strong and vital. As I've been telling everyone, we'll be around. I just won't be working here as much. In closing, I thank all of you for making my life richer for all these years. Let me use God's words in the Parsha as we rejoice in the power to make change and to grow. To a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach. And I will make your name great. Lech Lecha. And all shall bless your name. Lechi lach, to a place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, lechi lach. Lechi lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechila. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechila. At this time, we'll recite Kiddush for Erev Shabbat. We turn to page 109, followed by 119. Please rise if you are able for Kiddush. Vayachlu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam vayichal Elohim bayom hashvi milachto asher asa vayishabot bayom hashvi mikol milachto asher asa vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayikadesh oto Kivo shavat mikol melachto, kivo shavat mikol melachto, asher bara Elohim, asher bara Elohim lasot. Savarei chavarai,
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim ki elenu karata v'yotanu kidashta lavodatecha V'shabbat kodshecha b'yahava uv'ratzon hinechaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh hashabbat. L'chaim uvracha, to life, to blessing. Let's see.
To
What do I got
adventures
coming
and
up?
to journeys.
I'm going to ask you to please remain standing as we turn to page 121 for Aleinu. Page 121. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leyotzeh bereshit, shenatan lanu torat emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu, va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malachei hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Please be seated. You continue individually through page 125. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayomahu, yeh Adonai echad, ushmo echad. If you haven't already, please be seated. And Rabbi Daria.
Tonight, we remember the following yahrzeits. Karen Siegel, the wife of Alan Siegel. Larry Katz, the brother-in-law of Ann Riddick Brogman. Sylvia Freeman, the mother of April Kopel. Minna Lincoln, the grandmother of Andy Lincoln. Melvin Lippman, the father of Elaine Lippman. Morton Kopel, the father of Jeffrey Kopel. Karen Siegel, the mother of Jessica Siegel. Gail Petroff, the cousin of Karen Von Eaton. Victor Newman, the father of Marcia Dresner. Ben Parson, the father of Rich Parson. David Bacharach, the father of Richard Bacharach. Chester Candle, the father of Shelley Reese. So for all those we've named, if you're in mourning or remembering a yard site, we also remember Carl Krieger, the uncle of Carrie Quigley and Paul Wiener. Thank you. If there are any other names that people would like to put into the chat, of course, please do. So we hold all those in our hearts, thinking of them and how they've helped the individuals in those relationships you've named come into their journey, into their relationships here, and all those that have passed, that have each helped us on our journeys. We're, of course, particularly remembering those individuals I mentioned, but at this time of journeying and of going forth and of this poignancy of this moment, we're just holding the power of journeys and those who've come before that have helped us arrive at this moment. But for those who are in mourning, remembering particular individuals at this time, we turn to page 131. Yitgadal v'yitkadosh shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrei chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayei chon uvyomei chon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. B'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei
Yehi
shmei
Shmei Rabban V'rach, Le'olam Olam.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה
Brichu.
לאל אמין כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו
Amen.
יהי שלום הרב מן שמיא בחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
Amen.
עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו
Amen.
May their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated. So I'd like to invite up Ann Wittick-Brovman, the membership vice president. Yes, for some announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi Dario. Please join us tomorrow morning for Cantor Charlie's last official Shabbat service at 10 a.m. And that's going to be co-led by Rabbi Josh. Next Friday evening is our monthly family service, and services begin at 7:30. And I wanted to ask Shelley to say a few words about the event on November 7th.
Yes, on November 7th, next Saturday night, we'll be honoring Cantor Charlie with our celebration. We will be having songs and guest speakers and guest singers and spiels. And we're encouraging everybody to attend to show Charlie off. He'll be starting out with his first duties as Cantor Emeritus when he leads Havdalah services. So 7 o'clock on November 7th. We are hoping to make this a little bit of a fundraiser. So if you look at your flyer for Cantor Charlie's Gala, we have some suggestions and we would appreciate any help. See you all next week.
I'll be
Thank
there.
you, Shelley. Continuing with the announcements, on Tuesday, November 10th at 7 o'clock is the Oseh Shalom virtual town hall. Please come. It's an opportunity to hear what's going on and ask some questions of the board. On Sunday, November 15th, we're having a second part of a workshop led by Brad Sachs. The first part was, I think, in the spring. It's the spirituality of children at 2:30 p.m. The Oseh Shalom Religious School is still accepting applications. So if you know somebody that is of religious school age and their parents are interested in enrolling them, please reach out to Rabbi Rebecca. If you have not returned the High Holiday prayer books and you borrowed one, please make arrangements with the office to return the prayer books. And finally, I would like to thank Cantor Charlie very much for your music and your spiritual leadership.
Thank you, Ann.
Charlie,
I was going to say, if I missed any other announcements here.
yes, you have.
Yochanan.
I'd like to take privilege as religious vice president to thank Charlie for all of your wonderful music, for the blessings that you've given to Oseh Shalom over these many, many years. And I could speak for 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes, which I won't do, to talk about all the wonderful things that you brought to Oseh Shalom. This service tonight is just a distillation of all the joy and the craft as Chazan that you brought to Oseh Shalom. So on behalf of the congregation, I'd like to thank you, Charlie, for all that you brought to us as a congregation. We will be beginning our cantorial search process on the 15th of November at 10:30 on Sunday. If you're interested in being part of the search process committee, please get in touch with me. And again, Charlie, thank you for all the thousands and thousands of blessing that you've given us as our cantor at Oseh Shalom.
I won't let the door hit me in the tuchus on the way out.
Thank you
all right,
so much, Charlie.
No, we'll hold the door so it doesn't hit you on the tuchus,
You
Charlie.
always were so considerate.
I know. We don't want to ruin that damn door because that's on his last leg. So
That's right. Those doors were expensive.
that's right, and they're not the same doors as they used to be. So we got to be careful with those doors.
The old glass doors, they ain't what they used to be. All right.
So just a couple words, just a moment of words.
Rabbi, please.
Yes, thank you. So next week, Rabbi Josh will be speaking a little bit more in our 3 minutes that we have. So I just wanted to say right now, and having gotten to be present at this service with you, not really co-leading so much, but it's been such a pleasure to co-lead with you. And I got to, in my own way, get to hear our voices harmonizing, as you had mentioned, the pleasure with playing guitar when Rabbi Josh was leading recently. I get to harmonize and hear the beauty of our voices just melding and remembering being on the bima. And my Amidah, I just had your Vishamnu going through it over and over. So it was a perfect way of the Shabbat and the Lador Vador, the generations that have brought you to this place, have brought each one of us to this place, and will continue long beyond any of us are here. Just the power of your touching each one of our lives. It's been such a blessing indeed.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. All right. We are going to conclude with the Don Olam, and we're going to close the circle.
Turkey in the straw.
Yes.
And so this is especially for Maddie. Oops, let's do it this way. Adon Olam Hashem Malach B'terem kol tzir nivra Neid nasa v'cheftzot kol Azai melech shemo nikra V'acharei kichlot hakol Levado yimloch nora Vehu haya vehu hoder Vehu yiyeh v'tifara Ya la 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 ya la 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 Ya la 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 ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Hu echadi ein sheli להמשילו להחבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גואלי בצור חבלי ויצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ויום אקרא ילה לה לה ילה לה ילה לה לה ילה לה ילה לה 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 ילה לה 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 בידו הפקידוכי והייתי שם בעירה והמלוכי גבייתי אדוני לי ולא אירה ילה לה לה ילה לה ילה לה לה ילה לה ילה לה 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 ילה לה 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 once more ילה לה לה ילה לה ילה לה לה ילה לה ילה לה 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 ילה לה 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 Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
We're going to leave the Zoom call open for a while for people to schmooze together.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Hi, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
That's a lot of voices.
By the way,
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, sweetie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're hoping Ken and Charlie will be with us at the retreat. So if you are interested in hearing them again, or not,
Pay up.
No, we are actually, we really are going to try to have him there for the retreat as usual. He adds so much to the ruach and the energy at the retreat. So
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Thank you, Charlie.
Charlie, you'll be there next week, right?
I'll be there next Saturday. Yeah. Yeah, it's on the calendar.
Good.
What if you had a party and nobody came?
That wouldn't be any fun at all. No, I'm warming up my my Havdalah. I'm preparing for Havdalah right after we finish up tomorrow morning. I'll start preparing.
We were up to 94 people, Charlie.
Yeah, that's not 94 screens. That's not bad. That's
97.
97 you peaked at. Excellent. Excellent.
Next week, bring your own Havdalah
That's right.
so we can all be having the candles from home, right?
That's right. Because what Marilyn and I are still figuring out how we're going to do Havdalah here at the Soup and Song Zoom studio. So you'll have to make sure that you've got your Havdalah stuff too, so that we all make sure that we've got enough to go around.
Well, we'll have to set up a
What kind
Zoom
of
meeting.
soup are we having?
What's that now?
What kind of soup are we having?
You're on your own. You're on your own.
It's virtual soup.
Yeah.
Virtual. I hear it's low calorie.
It's the original stone soup.
It's a creative congregation. You'll come up with a good recipe.
Are the leftovers of all the years gone past those? It's swirled away in the freezer.
Oh, I don't want that soup. Oh.
Marilyn, good luck to you enjoying all the Shabbats. You're free now.
You're muted, Marilyn.
It will be different. It will be different.
Actually,
Charlie, it's not too late to get your resume in for the canner job.
Marilyn, you actually get to sit next to him at services.
That's going to be different.
Thank you for putting up with us.
Never sat next to him before.
Your job will then be to keep him awake during the sermon.
Oh.
We'll try and make sure we have a therapist present.
Classic.
We'll keep them short, Marilyn. That's
Steve, I heard you say that it's not too late to get my resume in for the new Cantor position. I'm waiting to see what it pays.
If you was a member, you could be on the committee now.
Hey, that's an idea.
Or you could negotiate the contract. Give John a break.
I could advocate for a really high salary for the new Cantor.
Yeah, what would it take,
then I
Charlie,
could
to
apply.
get you back as our Cantor?
Then I could apply.
We doubled your salary.
If only you knew.
You could
You don't have that kind of money. Well, thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate
Charlie,
it.
we've recorded all of this.
Excellent. Excellent. Save the chat, Yochanan. Save the chat for me, okay? And Ray, make sure you save the chat. I want to.
I don't know how the hell to do that, Ray. I'm going to make you the host so that.
Ray, make sure you save the chat for me.
Ray, I'm going to make you the host so you can save the chats.
Yeah, I think it's automatic.
That is saved automatically.
All right. Ray is on the job. It's automatic.
He is good.
Shabbat Shalom. See you in the morning, all of you.
Shabbat Shalom.
10 o'clock.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
That's a watching daughter a second ago. Oh, how you doing?
Oh my goodness, look at that.
Good. Oh, I can see you now. Look at that. You're in the bottom right of my television. Oh, you're moving over.
Oh, that baby.
How was yours?
So cute.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
I'm calling you about Aunt Mary. I hope you heard that she died 2 days ago.
Oh, no.